Good morning. Let's sing a morning song together out of the Teal hymn book. It's the very first song in the book, hymn number 1000, Morning Has Come. I invite you to rise in body and our spirit. If you're joining us online, you can find the lyric sheet included in the chat, and it will have all the hymns on it. Morning has come, arise and greet the day. Dance with joy and sing a song of gladness. The light of peace is shined upon each face. May it bring faith to guide our journey on. A new day dawns, once more this gift is given. Wonder fills this moment shared together. The light of peace here shines upon each face. May it bring faith to guide our journey on. Open our eyes to see that life abounds, and open hearts to welcome it together. The light of love here shines upon each face. May it bring faith to guide our journey on. Thank you.
Good morning. Welcome to the Olympia Unitarian Universalist Congregation. Thank you for joining us today. We are so glad that you are here. My name is Curtis Tanner. I use he, him pronouns, and I'm a member of the worship arts team. I'm a tallish, middle-aged white man with graying hair on my face and head. Today I'm wearing a white shirt, a beige jacket, and a tie that I chose because it reminds me of the colors of fall, orange and gold, and even a bit of gray. Leading worship with me today is Reverend Sara Lewis, the Director of Community and Faith Development, Reverend Mary Geer, our minister, and Troy Fisher, our music director. Carl Johnson is joining us for a solo today as well. Reverend Sara has practiced as a religious educator and spiritual director, and she's a gift to our beloved community. Our community envisions an interconnected world that is just, loving, and healthy. We commit to live our lives to welcome and wonder, embrace and empower, bridge and become. You are welcome here just as you are. Whatever beliefs sustain you, whomever you love, however you understand and express your identity, and all the ways that you are growing and becoming. Here are a few things you should know about our service today so you can feel welcome. We are streaming live on Zoom and YouTube. Thank you out there for joining us. The service is being recorded and available later. For those of you here in the sanctuary, you can see the sometimes creative and mildly accurate subtitles on the screen in front of you, and on Zoom for those of you online. We are a multi-generational community that welcomes people of all ages in this sanctuary. There is also nursery care and storytime program for children in the classroom wing. Over here we have soft chairs and activities for your curious hands, so everyone can be here in ways that supports them. Please be here in whatever way makes you most comfortable. We are grateful for the many hands that helped make worship happen this morning, visible, less visible. Thank you to all who contribute in so many ways to bring this service to our community. After the service, everyone will have a chance to discuss reflection questions offered by Reverend Sara, For those of you online, you can go to a breakout room for a virtual online coffee chat. I hope you can do that. For those in person, please feel free to stay for coffee and fellowship in the Commons. At 12:15 today, please join us back here in the sanctuary or back on the main Zoom room for a forum on who are all the ministers at OUUC. We are blessed to have many ministers connected to OUC, and you'll be surprised, the list is long and diverse. Come hear them speak about who they are and how they came to be here. Today at 2 p.m., the Interfaith Works annual holiday event, Resetting Our Sacred Table, will take place at the Lutheran Church of the Good Shepherd. This is a chance to talk with others across faith tradition about the values we share and to enjoy a potluck meal. Thank you for all your generous contributions of food in our recent food drive. The organizers have been overwhelmed with the donations, and we are now pausing collection of food for now. Thank you for your generosity. Overwhelmed. This Thursday, we will hold our annual Thanksgiving potluck dinner at 2 p.m. All are welcome. There's a sign-up genius on the electronic thingy, and also a good old-fashioned paper list in the Commons. In particular, we need more meat and protein dishes for Thursday's Thanksgiving meal. Each week this year, we will highlight an opportunity for engagement here at OUUC. This week's opportunity is the Pastoral Care Team. Members of this team offer a ministry of loving presence and support to the OUUC community. As representatives of Reverend Mary, they extend care to those who are experiencing life transitions such as birth, adoption, divorce, a job change, retirement, as well as those that are experiencing serious illness, hospitalization, death, other losses, and isolation. If you are interested in learning more, you can talk to a member of the Pastoral Care Team after the service in the Commons today, or reach out to Reverend Mary. Thank you to the Pastoral Care Team for your compassionate work. There are many things happening at OUUC. Check out the Tuesday electronic update or the website for the most up-to-date information. Now, as we enter into this time of worship, I invite you to open your heart and mind to the possibility of transformation in this gathering of beloved community. It is good to be together. This morning, we join Unitarian Universalist congregations around the world in lighting a chalice, the symbol of our faith tradition, with these words from Leah Angri. Here we are, together, each facing different human tasks, or maybe the same central one, to embrace the lessons life delivers, to discern and respond as we grow, to refuse harm and cherish flourishing. May we know ourselves as vessels of infinite possibility, holders of each other's heartaches and tales of joys alike, weavers of one story in which we all have a part.
Good morning. I'm Reverend Sara. I use she, her pronouns. I'm a middle-aged white woman with dark brown curly hair, today wearing a gray dress and black sweater, and a purple bedazzled stole made for me by the sewing ministry here. Our opening words are offered by Reverend Monica Jacobson Tennyson. What is it that calls you here, that calls you onward, that calls you inward, that leads you homeward? What is it that gives you the power to make that change, to ask that question, to take that journey? What is it that says you have done well, that asks you to learn more, that brings you to stillness, that holds you up in hard times. It is relationship, the beating heart of our faith. It begins when we share this hour, our truths, this air, our hearts. Come, let us worship together.
Let's sing together again. We're going to sing Come Ye Thankful People Come, and not out of the hymnal, because the words have been adapted. So I invite you to rise in body and our spirit, and you'll need the screen for this one. Come, ye thankful people, come, raise a song of harvest home. All is safely gathered in, ere the winter storms begin. Earth is bounteous to provide, for our wants to be supplied. Come in glad thanksgiving, come, raise the song of harvest home. These our days are as a field, sweet abundant fruit to yield, weed and tares together grown, unto joy or sorrow grown. First the bud, and then the ear, then the full corn shall appear. Live so that at harvest we wholesome grain and pure may be. Field and furrow heavy grown, yours to tend but not your own. Bread of life shall ye restore to your neighbors evermore. Gather all the nations in, free the sorrow, free the sin. Let the world in gladness come, share the joy of harvest home. Thank you.
Welcome, everyone. I'm Reverend Mary, and my pronouns are she, her. Today I'm dressed in a white top and a gray jacket, and the stole I have on is purple with a cardinal and a chalice and a river. It was given to me by the Portland and Salem congregations when I was ordained. The story that I have for you today is based on a story by Sara Squire titled Answer Mountain. A long, long time ago and far, far away, or maybe just yesterday and just around the corner, there was a little town that was nestled in the shadow of a mountain. And up on the side of that mountain, carved in giant words, was the saying, "The answer is no." Now, nobody knew how that got there, who carved it or who made it up. It had just always been there. And the people of this town, nestled in the shadow of the mountain, were really grateful that it was there, because whenever they had a question, they would simply go to the mountain and ask the question, and the answer was no. So things were going along smoothly and simply and carefully until one day, Ma Custis couldn't decide what to have for dinner. There was abundance in their household. And so she said, well, I'm going to go to the mountain. So she went up to the mountain and she said, should I make liver for dinner? And the answer was no, because liver, I mean, really. But then she said, well, should I make chicken? And the answer was no. Should I make potatoes? No. Should I make tofu stir fry? No. And Ma Custis kept asking, and always the answer is No. She asked all through that night and all the next day and into the next night, and her family went without dinner. Well, finally, she decided to make liver because that was the first thing that she thought of. And when dinner was done, she looked at the mountain and she shook her fist and she stomped her foot and she said, "This has to change." And so she went into the town and she rang the bell to call a town meeting, and everyone came running from the youngest to the oldest, and Ma Custis said, "This is not working. We have a problem. Why does the answer always have to be no? Why can't it be yes sometimes?" Well, the people of the town understood this problem, and yet they weren't very happy with this idea because, change? This is something that had been around for a long time, and how do you change something that's been around for so long? So they talked and they thought, and finally they said, okay, we can make this change. Well, Mason Sharp, who was the town's mason, the stone carver, said, well, I guess I can make that happen. He, tugged his cap and he scratched his nose and said, I can change what's on the mountain. It's going to take a little while, but I can do that. So the town said, okay. So for 2 weeks, every day, Mason climbed the mountain and he chiseled and hammered and polished. And then when he was done, he went into the town and he got the bell and he rang it for a town meeting, and everybody came running from the oldest to the youngest. And Mason said, the mountain is done. And people looked up and they saw that the mountain said, the answer is yes. And so everyone thanked Mason and they were glad this happened. Well, Ma Custis thought, well, I need to test this. So she stepped forward up to the front and she said, let me give this a try. And she said, so, should I make liver for dinner? And the answer was, yes. What? Ma Custis said, my husband, Pa Custis, said that if I made liver again, he would never forgive me. And my children said they would hide in the barn for a week. Should I make liver for dinner? And the answer was, yes. But I promised I would never make liver again. Should I break my promise? And the answer was, yes. Well, Ma Custis looked at that mountain and shook her fist and stomped her foot and said, we have a problem. And everybody in the town could see that there was a problem. And so they talked amongst themselves, and they thought and they thought and they talked, and finally, the very youngest of the Custis children said, why can't we have more answers? Why does there have to be just two? Oh my gosh, there was a collective gasp that had never occurred to them before. And so amongst themselves, they came up with some answers that might be possible. And so what they decided is that what was carved in the mountain should be changed to say, sometimes the answer is yes, and sometimes the answer is no, and sometimes the answer is wait and see, and sometimes the answer is I don't know. Well, Mason Sharp, the stone carver, he was hearing all this conversation, and he, fixed his cap and he scratched his nose and he said, well, I suppose I could change what's on the mountain, although I just did that. But it's going to take a while. It's going to take more than a couple of weeks. And so I can do that. You're going to have to be patient. And how about if we put a sign up on the mountain about what's happening? And so everyone thought that was fine. And for a while, Mason went up to the mountain every day to fix the carving. And for a while, people were patient about waiting. And then after a while, Mason got tired of climbing the mountain, and people got tired of waiting. And so they decided to have conversation amongst themselves, and they started asking each other questions. And they came up with the best answers that they could. And during that time, what they discovered is that different questions require different answers, and that some questions have more than one answer, and that there are a whole variety of answers that are possible. And during that time, they discovered that the sign that they had put on the mountain was probably the most accurate and helpful answer that the mountain could give, that the answer is under construction. This ends our story.
Each Sunday, we engage in the spiritual practices of generosity and gratitude by joining together in service to our community and to something greater than ourselves. This is an opportunity to express our gratitude for the gifts that life has given us, for the network of relations in which we live, and for the presence of this community. We each have the power to share, and when we combine our gifts to create an offering, together we are able to do more than any of us can do alone. If you are new or visiting us for the first or second time, you are honored guests and we do not expect you to contribute. However, if you are moved to be part of our offering, whatever you share is accepted with gratitude. The offering here does two things. Half helps support the ongoing work of this congregation, which is also supported by your regular pledges. Thank you. The other half goes to charity. Most is shared with an organization that serves our community in harmony with our Unitarian Universalist values, and a small portion goes to the OUUC Ministers Benevolence Fund to support the more urgent needs in our community. Our Share the Plate organization for November and December is Rebuilding Together Thurston County, an all-volunteer organization that provides free home repairs. Rebuilding Together Thurston County provides free critical home repairs and improves accessibility for low-income homeowners and nonprofit facilities. Their clients are typically seniors, persons with disabilities, military veterans, or families with young children. The work they do, often accomplished by volunteers, preserves existing affordable housing and allows these folks to remain in their homes safely and with dignity. We offer our thanks also to those of you who give to the offering electronically. You can find out about that in the order of service or on the OUUC website. May the offering now be generously given as it is gratefully received.
When I was a boy, each week on Sunday we would go to church and pay attention to the priest, and he would read the holy word and consecrate the holy bread, and everyone would kneel and bow. Today the only difference is everything is holy now. Everything is holy now. And when I was in Sunday school, we would learn about the time when Moses split the sea in two and Jesus made the water wine. I remember feeling sad that miracles don't happen still, but now I can't keep track, 'cause everything's a miracle. Everything's a miracle. Wine from water is not so small, but an even better magic trick is that anything is here at all. So the challenging thing becomes not to look for miracles, but finding where there isn't one. When holy water was so rare, I barely wet my fingertips, but now I have to hold my breath, 'cause it's like I'm swimming in a sea of it. I used to be a world half there, heaven's second-rate hand-me-down, but I walk it with a reverent air, 'cause everything is holy now. Yes, everything is holy now. Read a questioning child's face and say it's not a testament. That'd be very hard to say. See another new morning come and say it's not a sacrament. Well, I tell you that can't be done. This morning I stood outside. I saw a little red-winged bird shining like a burning bush and singing like a scripture verse. It made me want to bow my head. I remember when the church let out, how things have changed since then, 'cause everything is holy now. It used to be a world half there, heaven's second rates hand me down, but I walk it with a reverent air, 'cause everything is holy now. Yes, everything is holy now.
Thank you so much for your generosity in all the ways you share your many gifts. When we gather on Sunday, we honor our human lineage when we come together in times of fear and worry and in times of celebration and joy. So let's open our hearts to the complexity of all that is in our hearts and minds today as we acknowledge the complexity in our community in this time. We will place stones in the water of community in honor of that complexity. You will hear a drum beat. I invite you to allow its resonance into your body. It's the heartbeat of life, the heartbeat of our community. Right now, I invite you to take a deep breath in and out and allow the life-giving air to enter and leave your body. Feel the earth solid beneath us, holding us always. Feel the warmth of connection and community. We'll open our circle wide by inviting those on Zoom to enter in the chat what you wish to share from your heart. Those of us in the sanctuary will see your sharing on the screen, and it's shared with me and the pastoral care team. For those on site today, I invite you to come forward if there's something you'd like to bring into community. You may place a stone in the water as you hold your sharing in your heart. Let's hear all the sounds of our community as we reach out our hearts in love and care to all who share today. We'll place a stone in the water for all that has been shared online, shared from the heart. And one more stone placed in the water for all that we hold in our hearts and that remains unspoken this day. We hold together all that has been shared. May you feel yourself witnessed. May you know that you are loved. I invite you to find a comfortable position that supports your ability to breathe. Let's take a deep breath together in and out. And as you breathe in, I invite you to raise your shoulders. And as you breathe out, lower your shoulders again. You might do that a couple of times. And as you breathe in, may you feel the support of the chair beneath you. Breathing out, may you release your worries and tensions just for this moment. Breathing in, may you feel Mother Earth solid beneath us. Breathing out, may you release any sense of separation from all that is. Breathing in, may you feel the support of your breath. Breathing out, may you be open to joy and healing. Breathing in, may you feel safe, respected, and seen. Breathing out, may you feel loved. Let's be in silence together.
I invite you to remain seated and let's sing together Ali Halpert's Loosen, Loosen. Loosen, loosen, baby. You don't have to worry. The weight of the world on your muscles and bones. Let go, let go, let go. Let's
Today's first reading is from Our Unforming, De-Westernizing Spiritual Formation. The author, Cindy S. Lee, is a spiritual director and adjunct professor at Fuller Theological Seminary. She also leads formation workshops and mentors new spiritual directors. She writes, Western spirituality developed based on a desire for certainty. A spirituality of certainty utilizes religion to give us a sense of control by setting rules and delineating beliefs that will not change. A spirituality of certainty is located in the mind. It is verbal and literate because it depends on human language to define God. Those with privilege and power can especially build their lives around the delusion of certainty. Those with more influence and wealth can attempt to build up walls of protection against uncertainty, using their power to control circumstances and the people around them. But any certainty we attain is temporary. Those who live in poverty and oppressive conditions recognize that they have no choice but to live in a constant state of uncertainty. Triumphalism. Triumphalism is the false assumption that we, the privileged, deserve to keep moving upward, to achieve and to succeed. The U.S. culture of triumphalism allows us to pretend that pretend that because we worked hard, good things come to us, and we are therefore immune to bad things. Triumphalism has also invaded how we live into our faith. A just work harder society creates a just work harder religion. Because of our privileged positions in life, we are surprised by suffering each time it comes near.
Part 1, Unforming Together. I am a person who likes to study, to read, to go to school, and to learn. I've pursued years of education, and I've grown in the process. In different frameworks that I've been through, I've been built, educated, developed, formed, and whatever other words the programs might use. And all of that has been very important to who I am today. But the formation doesn't stand out as the pivotal moments. It was the times of unforming that really stopped me in my tracks, shifted my unthinking assumptions and biases, and transformed me. Moments of heartbreak, betrayal, shock, and tragedy, those hitting bottom moments when I felt like I was falling apart. And moments of transcendence, beauty, unexpected grace and love, and resiliency. What my unforming moments have in common are their unexpectedness and the ways that they shook up all my plans and assumptions. They weren't achievements. I didn't work for them, and I didn't earn them. Now, most of us have grown up in the Western educational model and Western spiritual tradition, and the assumptions and goals of those traditions, just like other aspects of our culture, can be largely invisible to us. As the saying goes, it's the water we swim in. So we may not realize that these mindsets and attitudes toward learning and spirituality are not the only possibility. I so appreciate the work of Cindy S. Lee, the author of our first reading, as well as all of the other non-Western spiritual teachers that I have been fortunate to learn from, who have challenged my assumptions about things like time, relationship, language, and more. When I first began my work as a religious educator, I had a set of very clear-cut goals and a content map I was committed to. But over my 17 years in this work and all that I've learned, most of my goals and content ideas have become much less fixed. I've unformed and let go of much of it. Which reminds me of something that my organic chemistry professor said when I was an undergrad. He told me that as I went further and learned more and more, I would be constantly discovering that I had been in some ways lied to by the simpler explanations I was taught at a lower level of science. The more you study, the less you know and the weirder it gets, he liked to say. Now, I changed course and didn't pursue chemistry further, but this wisdom has stuck with me and been transferable to learning and growing in general. The more I learn, the less I know for sure, in a cognitive, head-centered certainty kind of way. And yet, in general, our model of education and faith doesn't lean into the unknowing, but is instead modeled after sort of climbing a ladder towards more and more and more. More knowledge, more competence, more certainty, more confidence. And too often, the climb is to a goal that lets us graduate and stop there. That's it. We know everything. We are formed. We are done. Now, compared to some other religious traditions, we UUs may think we aren't stuck in this model. And it's true that without a set dogma or doctrine, we are a bit more open to unknowing. Our religious education programs for children became experientially focused in the early 20th century, far ahead of the norms for Sunday school learning. So why is this a message for UUs? Well, partly because UUs actually have historical roots in creating the triumphalist, just work harder kind of faith. Our American Unitarian ancestors were the Harvard-educated elites of Boston who championed the idea that humans can perfect themselves through character development and education. Our faith ancestors took this ethos in directions that we now see as positive, such as support for free public schools. And they sometimes took that ethos of education and human development in directions that we now see as wrong, such as when they formed a mission to the Utes as part of the civilizing project of the 19th century, or when they supported the eugenics movement. Our belief in the perfectibility of humans and in onward and upward forever is right in alignment with the triumphalism and seeking certainty that our reading critiqued. Now, if hearing about these times that UUs have made mistakes is a bit uncomfortable or unsettling or changes the way you feel about your faith, you might be having a bit of an unforming moment. In learning theory, this phenomenon is called cognitive dissonance, a time when new learning or experience contradicts the way you have thought before and threatens the paradigms that you have held. Cognitive dissonance is an important and necessary step in learning. Otherwise, we'd all still hold the same paradigms about the world that we did as children. Now, the townspeople in our story experienced cognitive dissonance when they realized that getting the same answer all the time wasn't useful for them. They had to change their paradigm about questions and answers. But the term cognitive dissonance doesn't include the fullness of unforming. Unforming could be heart dissonance. It could be soul dissonance, whole being dissonance. Sometimes unforming is more than uncomfortable. Sometimes unforming comes from tragedy, from trauma. And sometimes unforming brings us back to unhealed trauma we've compartmentalized within us. Unforming can be rocky terrain. Which brings me to the together part of this reflection. It's awfully good to have company and support with us when we encounter our unformings. When a person is in an unforming process, others can hold space and support them, can reassure them that they are not alone, that this too shall pass, that we all unform sometimes. This congregation can be a community that holds us all in times of unforming, in times even of falling apart. Many years ago, when I was leading a Day of the Dead ritual for children here, an 8-year-old boy brought the whole proceeding to a stop when he told a long and rambling story about his grandfather and then began to cry. Some of the other kids didn't know what to do. Some of them did. Some of them cried too in sympathy. Some of them came and hugged him gently. He was then able to come forward and light a candle for his grandpa. And afterward, he told me something that has stuck with me ever since. He told me that he loved coming to church because he was sad. And at home and at school, it wasn't okay to be sad. But at church, it's a place where it's okay to be sad. Moments like that are when the importance of a faith community becomes clear. But we don't always live up to the ideal of support and safety for times of unforming. There are so many ways to mess up. We can be so focused on forming and on try harder, learn more models of faith that we don't leave room for unforming. Onward and upward forever, no pausing for messy stuff. Or we can be uncomfortable with unforming and engage in subtle acts of exclusion that makes it clear that those who are unforming should go do that somewhere else. We can minimize and tell people that they're just making too much of a big deal out of it. Or we can lack trauma awareness and re-injure those who are already hurting. Now, if any of these examples of falling short as a community have happened to any of you when you needed us to hold space and be there for you, I am sorry that happened. When we mess up, even when we didn't mean to mess up, it's important for there to be repair. So I'd like to invite you into a practice of repair right now. It's optional, you don't have to do it. We'll flow right into the musical interlude, so if you want to check out for a little bit, check back in when the music starts. But for those who would like to, I invite you to take a couple deep breaths. Notice how we are held by our chairs, by gravity, and by the earth. We are held always. Notice the ways that you are safe right now, and if your body would like something more to feel even safer, such as hugging yourself or anything else, make that adjustment. And for those who are willing, please close your eyes and reflect back to a time that you were engaged in unforming. It could be anything. Could be learning about white supremacy culture for the first time, losing faith in something or someone, encountering loss, or any other type of unforming. As much as is safe for you now, let yourself feel those feelings again. What did that feel like? And then notice who was around you, who was with you, who held space for you. How were you not held by others? What do you wish that you had received? Be tender with yourself. Hold that vulnerable and possibly hurting part of you in love. And when you're ready, I invite you to shift your focus from within yourself to without, to everyone else in this space and joining us online. Think of all these people with all the tender and vulnerable parts of them that are just like your tender and vulnerable parts. In your heart and mind, hold space for these other people and send them these messages. You are not alone. There is space here for all your thoughts and feelings. I am sorry for the ways that humans have fallen short. I am sorry for the ways you have been left to deal with it on your own. Together, let us journey toward being a more loving community. We are in it together.
Our second reading is from Freeing Jesus, Rediscovering Jesus as Friend, Teacher, Savior, Lord, Way, and Presence by Diana Butler Bass, an author and commenter on the intersections of religion and spirituality with culture and politics. I've come to understand the problem was more with my definition of teacher than with Jesus. Like many others, I mostly thought of teachers as guardians of a set of middle-class values and civic virtue, as those who instilled conventional ideas about citizenship and history. This is not a particularly bad designation, but it inhibits creativity and questioning, often reducing education to a set of fairly benign principles about conformity and acceptability. I learned that teachers were far more than dispensers of information or guardians of civic orthodoxy. The best ones do not teach to anybody's test. Instead, they taught from the heart by raising questions and presenting material in surprising ways. Indeed, the best teachers I've ever known, as well as the teacher I aspire to be, nurtured a way of being in the world.
Part 2, forming together. So I first trained as a teacher and then as a religious educator, and I love teaching. But I'm troubled by the stereotype of a teacher we have in the Western tradition, as outlined in this reading. That's a teacher as one who has the answers, has an established body of knowledge to transmit to students, as well as one who is a guardian of the status quo of social norms and trains students to conform to what is expected of them. Now, that's not the kind of teaching I have any interest in. Fortunately, we have many wonderful role models of another kind of teaching. And we have many great spiritual teachers who were nothing like that. Buddha, Moses, Jesus, and many others show an example of a spiritual teacher who might have some specific knowledge, laws, practice, or wisdom to transmit, but most of all moved people toward a different way of being in the world. These different approaches to education or formation are given a nice metaphor in the book The Gardener and the Carpenter, What the New Science of Child Development Tells Us About the Relationship Between Parents and Children, by evolutionary developmental scientist Alison Gopnik. In this work, Gopnik uses the metaphor of a carpenter for the old model of teaching or parenting, of forming up a child. A carpenter has a blueprint, a plan, a clear goal, and crafts the raw materials into the desired shape, including by cutting things apart or cutting them away if they don't fit. On the other hand, a gardener supports the growth of what will be. A gardener may still train a plant into going a desired direction, or trim one part so growth focuses elsewhere. But the gardener cannot fully control the plant and knows that. Gopnik writes, "So our job as parents is not to make a particular kind of child. Instead, our job is to provide a protected space of love, safety, and stability in which children of many unpredictable kinds can flourish. Our job is not to shape our children's minds, it's to let those minds explore all the possibilities that the world allows. Our job is not to tell children how to play, it's to give them the toys and pick the toys up again after the kids are done. We can't make children learn, but we can let them learn." End quote. Now extend that idea to people of all ages. We cannot make anyone learn or grow, but we can provide a protected space of love and safety that allows growth to happen. Like the gardener, we can work to create an environment that allows for flourishing. In the last 5 years, I've added a new training and role to my ministry as a certified spiritual director. Now, spiritual direction is not well known, so in brief, I'll try to explain that spiritual directors are trained to hold space for others' spiritual and faith questions, experiences, and challenges. So it's a bit like counseling, but it's not. It's a bit like pastoral care, but it's not. And it's a bit like coaching, but it's not. And it's none of those things exactly. Does that make sense? So I have a private practice as a spiritual director, and I typically meet with a client for an hour a month for a regular and planned session. I've had a few clients now for more than 3 years, while others have come and gone with shorter time. And I've gained a new perspective on spiritual formation through serving in this role. It's a real privilege to be witness to the depths and the long-term arc of another's faith journey. A quick side note to anyone who's curious or sparking a bit about this idea of spiritual direction: it would be unethical for me to work with anyone at OUC, but there are lots of good spiritual directors out there, and I'm happy to help you point you to the right way. So one of the lovely things that I have seen as a spiritual director is the way that being truly listened to invites a deep sharing that can help a person realize truths for themselves. Over and over again, someone will say something like, "Now that I'm saying that out loud, I realize." Now, of course, saying things out loud isn't the only discipline where this can happen, but for some people, it's the most effective way for them to get to deeper understandings. Another role I play as a spiritual director is to be a non-judgmental mirror. Just as practicing a dance step in front of a mirror can show you whether you're doing what you hope you're doing, having another person repeat back what they're hearing or noticing from your sharing can bring more self-understanding. I sometimes just point out a word choice that keeps recurring, Or I might share that I hear a particular emotional undertone to what is being said. I'm not always right, and that's okay too, because that might lead to a different kind of learning. And with the clients that I've been seeing for years, I am a witness to growth. I can point out how much change has occurred over time, or that there might be a recurring theme that comes up seasonally for someone. Having a witness know and remember the path we have explored can help us get back on track when we've wandered, or give us milestones to celebrate. Now, I share all this because we can do these things for each other here in our community of faith as well. We can all be the witness and the witnessed as we are on our own individual journeys, but we're also here together. Just as we can hold space for the unforming times, we can also hold space and witness the formation as well. We can listen to understand rather than to debate. We can mirror and witness for each other. We can ask gentle questions from a place of curiosity. And when needed, we can push back on harmful behaviors or patterns of thinking and help each other see our own biases. Now, overall, I think OUC is a pretty good place for this. A few years ago, we took part in a UUA-wide project to collect answers to the question, what is it we teach and learn here? And word clouds were created for each participating congregation. When all the word clouds were made public, I noticed that ours was a bit different than the others. So here's our word cloud. The way that these word clouds work is that words that are more common in the responses are shown bigger, and the biggest word was the most commonly used. So all the word clouds from every congregation that participated placed love at the center as the biggest word. But OUUC's cloud has some words in it that weren't common or even present at all in other word clouds. And those words are care, self-care, regulation, breathing, grounding, healing, forgiveness, and help. Now, I have to say, I felt pretty proud of us when I saw our word cloud. And I think it reflects the work of many here, most obviously Reverend Mary, to bring healing and trauma-informed practices into our congregational practice at all levels. I think the reason our word cloud was chosen for the front cover of the UUA book, Love at the Center, is because of these words that show how we put healing and growth both into our teaching and learning. Now, I'm sure that these are present in other congregations too. There's lots of reasons why they may not have gotten mentioned in that exact exercise. And I also know that we aren't perfect in how we do this. What we shared in our word cloud may be aspirational as much as actually manifest in how we are together. But our aspiration is beautiful. So let's fully live into our vision of what we teach and learn here. Let us hold space lovingly for the necessary unforming work that everyone will encounter at some point. Let us practice repair and forgiveness with grace and humility. Let us balance our individual journeys with the joy of support and witness that comes from togetherness. Let us be nurturing gardeners for the full unfolding of each unexpected, miraculous, unique person. There is no blueprint. There is no goal, and no one will ever be finished. None of us gets to graduate, not in this lifetime at least. So on this long and windy and unknown journey, let us be companions for one another. Let's take a few moments for silent reflection.
invite you to rise in body and our spirit, and let's sing together hymn number 331. Life is the greatest gift of all. Life is the greatest gift of all, its riches on the earth. Life is its creatures, great and small, of high and lowly birth. So treasure it and measure it with ease of shining worth. Mine is the brightest gift of all, its thought no barrier mars. It seeks creation's hidden plan, its quest surmounts all bars. It rains the wind, it chains the storm, it weighs our outmost stars. We are of life, its greatest gift, the measure of all things. Up from the dust our temples lift, our vision soars on wings. From seed and root, for flower and fruit, our grateful spirit sings.
We extinguish our chalice with the words of Craig Rowland. As we extinguish this flame, may we carry its warmth into the world, not as a memory, but as a promise. A promise that you deserve a place where your voice matters, where your laughter is treasured and your silence is honored. You deserve a circle that sees your scars and your strength, your doubts and your radiance, and holds them all in care. Let us be that circle for one another, a community of fierce welcome, wild grace, and radical hope. Go knowing that you belong here and you always have. Go with joy. Go with love.